Hello, everyone, and welcome to Girlfriend, We Got You. I am your host, Melissa Marie, and I am here with my lovely, stunning, smart, intuitive co host, Ashley Allen.
Hey Mel.
Hey, so today we're going to be discussing the steps to becoming a boss lady.
This is
Ah,
exciting.
this is exciting. I love this topic.
I
Um,
know, so great.
I have been discussing on social media. I shouldn't say discussing. I've been putting it out there that I've been a boss lady for years. Like I'm all about being a boss, bossing it up in my life. Um, the hustling, the whole like I have control. Um, and I think that every woman should feel this passion of being a boss lady.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree completely.
So when you think of boss lady, I'm just curious, Ash, like what do you think? Like what's the first thing that comes to your mind as a female?
Confidence.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because you have to have it. And I'm not talking about because there's arrogance and there's confidence. Confidence, the difference between that is arrogance is completely ego driven and it's
Mhm.
comparative, right? You're comparing yourself to other people, and it usually, it's kind of negative, right? So confidence is really driven by your belief in yourself because you believe you can.
Right.
So I
Right.
feel that that is the number one thing that you have to have. You have to believe that you can and have that confidence that you've got this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Um, because I would feel that that's number one in the whole thing of being a boss lady is having that confidence and knowing that you can do it and you don't um, I would say you have to like not look at what others feel or see. You have to find that confidence from within.
Yes, absolutely. Because a lot of people will look and see what other people are doing,
Yes.
and we don't do that here. We focus on
No.
us. That energy, we put that into ourselves.
Right. And I call it living in a bubble, which I feel I live in a bubble all the time. I don't look at my competition like for the salon. I like just focus on me. I focus on the salon. I focus on the people who are working for me at the time or who's within my like, boss energy life. And
Mm.
I don't see anything else. So definitely living in that bubble is like number one too, with that confidence.
Yes, for sure. Because really, if you think about it, when you channel all that energy into what you're doing and your craft or, tweaking things, you're really elevating yourself and your business or whatever it is that you're set out to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because comparing yourself or looking at your competition so much, that really drains your energy. And then you'll put yourself in a position where you doubt yourself,
Right.
you know?
And I'm just using myself as like a reference because I own a business, but you could be a boss lady as a nurse. You could be a boss lady, like if you like do construction. I mean, there's female construction workers out there. You could be a boss in anything that you craft. So I don't want you to feel like that boss babe or boss lady or all of that term is for entrepreneurs at all.
Oh,
It's all
absolutely.
in who you are and what your craft is.
Exactly. Because let me tell you something, you could be like a billing clerk, or you could be a receptionist, or whatever it is that you're doing. Um, and have that boss lady mentality. Be confident in who you are as a person or whatever it is that you're working on. I mean, your energy has the power to light up the room and shift the vibration. So, I mean, and I just have to say this. I feel especially now, I just see a lot of women who are doing so much more than just that day to day typical workout, 8 hour work hour job. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm seeing more and more women like step out and do different things. You know, they'll be might have a daytime job but also go to school at night, you know, stuff like that. I'm just seeing more and more of that. And I feel like also we kind of need to touch on the women that choose to stay home or maybe they don't work. And you know, they stay home with their kids and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And but you can also have that boss lady mentality doing that as well.
Oh, absolutely. Because it takes a lot of energy and a lot of work to pick up those kids, drop them off from school, or, make sure that, they're taken care of and taking care of the house. I mean, that's a full-time job in itself. And you could definitely be all bossed up with that.
Oh, for sure. And you know, it's kind of funny. I feel like the need I have to bring this up too. Even if we have younger listeners that, you know, are college students or they, you know, they haven't decided on a career path or anything that they're doing. Um, I kind of think of it like this. Recently, my daughter, she got all the classes she wanted next year for high school. And her high school career is going to really take off. Like she's really going to have to focus, right?
Yeah.
And so, but she was so happy. She knows that she's in for a lot of work ahead of her. And so you can still have that boss lady mentality.
Yes.
You need it. You have to have it. You know, you
Yes.
are building your future. So get into that mindset, you know?
Absolutely. It's that drive from within.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. I mean, and you know, I have to say this, especially for anybody that's trying to start a business or anything. You know, it takes confidence, it takes grit
Oh, lots of
and
grit.
and persistence. Like you
Yes.
have to be persistent in it. And
Yeah.
you and Mel, you're so good to talk with us about like this whole subject, really.
Right. And you can't give up. I can't tell you how many times that I have gotten knocked down in my whole life. Honestly, I was the child that was like less likely to succeed. And look at me now, like honestly. And it came from not all of this came in my life where who I am now came from me. Like I had to get to the point where I had to stop listening to people.
Oh
There,
yeah.
there was a time where I used to listen to people all the time and I felt like nothing. I felt like I was going to be nothing. And when I look back, I'm like, shame on those people for not encouraging me and not saying, you could do this, but saying, oh, you can't do that. Um, some people might come back and be like, well, that's who made you who you are. No, actually, to be honest, they actually made it harder for me. And I just want to put that out there
Oh
because
my God.
I feel like we need to be encouraging people and we
Oh
need to
yeah.
not place judgment on other people. Um, and that's just like my story of it. But I never gave up. I just kept on feeling from what was from within of what I felt like I need to do. And obviously, I had the motivation of my children, of me being a single mom. And you know what? I put that label on me as a boss lady. And it took off and I loved it. I will be honest, I got criticized for it. I thought it was kind of funny, and I will say it now. At the time, I was kind of confused, but it was just like, I would say, like narrow mentality that came from it. So it was people who did not see from the outside. But I was criticized. They're like, well, you're not a boss. You're not a boss. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they'd be like, at the time, like, I did not have employees. So I was like mostly working for myself. And they're like, well, you don't have employees. I'm like, dude, that's not what a boss is. Like, yeah, that is like
No.
what a boss, maybe the language of a boss was like in the workforce in the 50s, but we're like in the 2000s. That's not what a boss is. A
No.
boss is like a girl who has her shit together, who has the confidence, who has the motivation, who is not going to listen to others to achieve what she feels is right for herself. And that's what a
Amen.
boss is.
Amen.
Yes.
You know what? I'm gonna get us matching shirts, and it's gonna say, "I elevate this shit."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes.
We're gonna make that some merch. We're gonna put it on our website.
We are gonna get some merch, and it's gonna say all that. I love it.
Oh, hell yes. And it's funny to me because and I just have to say this. Okay, I want to go back to something you said that I really feel like this has to be talked about. All right, you said that someone made a comment to you, and we've all gotten it, and I've said it to people in the past, but you made a comment that somebody said to you, um, but it made you, all the stuff you went through, it made you the person you are today. And I have to say that I feel like that kind of goes into toxic positivity. And I know
Yes.
that sounds like an oxymoron, right? Putting those two words together. However, like, that's bullshit. Some of it, the real matter of it is, like, you can be positive and love and light. Oh, hell yeah. But let's be real with it, okay? So the thing is like, sometimes this shit we go through, it's fucked up.
It is. You know what, Ash?
you
It's
know?
totally fucked up because I will say, even though people will be like, oh, that's what made you who you are. No, you know what? You know what that did to me? That caused trauma in my life. And it really fucked up my head.
Yeah.
It's a grace of God that I was able to climb out of that darkness and have
Mm-hmm.
the strength. So really what happened is that I actually gained strength from within to climb out of the darkness to find my light. So, shame on those who actually have said, well, that's who made you who you are. And actually, it's kind of funny because it's like those same people in my life that are ones who actually criticized me.
Oh, for sure.
I'm
Because
just gonna put that out there.
well, the thing is that some people they really don't mean any harm by it, right? Some
Right,
people, they just don't know any better, and they're just saying that because they're just trying to find words of comfort, right? Because
right,
sometimes we just don't know what to say. I can give people a pass on that. People that are genuine. But those kind of people that you're talking about, the reason why they're saying that is because they're trying to make your trauma or what you went through less than.
right,
Right? They're trying to,
right,
downplay it, just like they're trying to downplay you because they're projecting their own insecurities, their own shortcomings onto you.
right.
So that makes sense. And I really feel like people should just maybe find another way to say things to find some uplifting words instead of, oh, well, it made you the person you are today. It's like, you know what, shut the hell up. It's like,
Right.
couldn't there have been better ways for me to evolve? but
Way better ways. And I am like really, I mean, and I see it all the time, even with like, because Caitlin is 15. And I see a lot of times with Caitlin and her friends and some of her friends' parents, they're just like really so critical on these girls. And I feel like that's when it started with me of that conditioning in my mind. I was like around 14 and 15 was when I really honestly felt like I was not going to amount to anything. Like I was literally told that, which it should be the opposite. And I don't mean like our girls too, like our boys too. Like we should be encouraging them instead of saying, "Oh, you're doing bad." You should be like, "Okay, this is not working for you. How can we revisit this and change this so this can work for you and you can be successful? How can we make you successful?" And
right.
that's what we need to be focusing on. And I feel like that's why there isn't a lot of women right now that aren't that like bossed up and who have the struggle about being bossed up with that confidence is because they were always shut down.
Yes. And so then they'll compare themselves to other women and they become bitter.
Yes.
They become bitter and they
Yes.
become cold. And then they keep attracting these unpleasant experiences and unpleasant people to them because of what they are putting out with their energy. And so
Right.
it's so important. It's so important if you want better for yourself, if you want confidence, if you want to, whatever it is you want to do, you have to really cherish yourself and accept yourself for who you are and where you are right now. Like, that's so
Agree.
important, because if you can't love yourself, if that's too much, or you feel like positive talk to yourself is too much, start with acceptance.
Yeah,
That's where you got to start,
right. And you
you know?
do. You just have to accept you for you and accept your flaws. It's
Hmm.
okay to have flaws. You know, you can be a boss lady and have flaws.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I have this thing where I'm really trying to work on it, because I get like this with my staff. I get like this with my children. And I want, especially now because I'm in the process of opening my own med spa. So
Yay.
I'm just so happy. It's so crazy for me to say that. Like, I'm in the process of opening my own med spa. I'll need that insurance quote. Thank you. I'm just like, it's just so like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just really, really happy, you guys. I'm like so happy. So anyway, um, back to what I was saying. When I'm really trying to work on, I have that. I tell my kids like I Hulk out, because when I'm telling you to do something, I'm gonna need you to do it. And normally, like, I start off with, hey, I use my please and thank yous. I'm very considerate, and I'm like, hey, do you think, or this is important. I'm gonna
You're
need you to step up on this.
you're better than me. I don't even know if I use my please and thank yous. I'm like, Carl, get your room clean.
Oh, well, my kids are a little different, yes. But I'm talking like when I'm talking to, especially more so though, when I'm talking to my staff,
I get that. Yeah.
I'm trying to be, courteous.
Right.
And then when it doesn't happen, I don't have a middle ground. That's my issue. I don't have a middle ground.
Yeah.
I have a 0 to 100. And then I literally flip a switch, and I'm telling you, I change from Dr. Banner to the Hulk in a matter of seconds. And I'm like, why isn't this getting done? I'm
That's a
not
good analogy. Just
I
say.
I really did. I'm a huge Marvel fan, by the way. And with great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely.
And so anyway, I'm just so like, I just get like that. And I'm like, I don't understand why this isn't getting done. I was very clear. I mean, do we need help? Do you just is reading comprehension skills a problem? Like, I'm very like, I get like that. I'm like, I have to reel that in, because it's not nice. and
No.
I know that there's a way to be stern and direct without having anger or irritability with that, right?
Right.
But that's where I'm at. So when you say the flaws, like, that is a big thing I'm working on, big time. You know, so, and my children too. Like, my children, I'm not so nice. When they like really push me and they're really fucking up, I am like, oh, I get pissed. I'm like, look, fuck around and find out. I was like, you know what? Like,
I I can relate. I can. So it reminds me. So in my family, the women are very much alike. We all have these same like almond eyes, but our almond eyes actually can turn to fire when we're mad.
yes, yes, that's what my mother used to tell me.
Yes.
She's like, your eyes change colors whenever you
Right.
get to that level. I'm like, ooh.
Right. So that's kind of like how it is in our family. And I remember as a child, like my mom had it, like, because I remember like it was like just a flip of a switch. Like if we just did, it was just one little extra thing, she like flipped. And then you got this fire in her eyes. And as a parent now, I have the same thing. So it's like almost my kids, like they'll know like how far they can go, just like every kid out there. And then once they flip it, they're like, oh God, I should have done that. Like they back off, like, whoops.
Oh my God. You know what? That's so funny. And well, I feel like that's really important though, because
Yeah.
that's really important thing you need to know. Like us, we are very self-aware. We are very
Mhm.
self-aware of what we're doing, and
Yes.
we look for our triggers, and we're like, okay, I got to do better with this next time. You
Right.
know, and we work on that. And that is one thing that comes with that acceptance part, right? Is you accept who you are
Yes.
and where you're at. And
Yes.
yes, and it's almost like, you kind of gauge where you are and what you need to work on, and you go from there. I want to say this really quick. I was just thinking about this. I was thinking about our stories, and we've talked about this a little bit, but Mel, you make well over six figures. I'm just going to say, okay?
We could talk
Um,
about that. I'm okay with that.
and you used to clean houses once upon a time.
I did.
And I used to wait tables on the side and
Yes.
work, try to do photography, Uber, whatever. I mean, actually, even before I Ubered, I would have to walk my kids to school and then walk to work to wait tables because I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
My car got totaled by my ex-husband, and it was like totaled. Like I was getting nothing for it. And so it was a really bad situation. And like I had nothing. And then to look at where I am now, and then to look at where you are now.
I know.
And
I know.
I mean, it's amazing. And we're not the only ones. The woman that runs the program where I got certified to get in to be a certified aesthetic injector, she was homeless. She was
Yeah.
homeless.
I
And
know.
with and she had children. She had four children and she was homeless. They were living out of her car. And to look at her today and see that she has a medical spa and she has these programs and she's like board certified to do all of these things and she's so talented. I mean, it's incredible.
Yep, it is. It is. I know. Sometimes I just have to sit and reflect on like what has happened in my life to really see like how far I've come because I'm someone who just keeps on wanting to climb the ladder. Like I just keep on going and going and going. Like I just don't stop. And I really do have to sit and like reflect on who I am and where I've come from. Because I mean, I really did it. And even growing up, you and I both, we didn't have a lot of money. We both grew up
No,
with not a lot of money.
no.
We both grew up in households where tragedy had happened in different ways, but still tragedy had happened. And then navigating through our 20s was really rough for you and I because we both took paths that were actually really like hurtful to ourselves. Like we
Mhm.
took these paths that weren't really the right path for us. And we got to a point where we're like, this is not what we want. And I think that alone is a boss up moment where you just are like, okay, this is time. It is time to make some changes. And when I went through my divorce, I had nothing. In fact, I had a lot of stuff in collections. I'll be quite honest.
Oh,
And
same.
my kids were so little, and I just busted my ass cleaning houses. I busted just getting. I put myself through cosmetology school, and then after that, I had to build my clientele, and I just busted. I just kept on going and going and going, and I didn't look. I just didn't like look past. I didn't look in my past. I just kept on looking in my future.
I look, I love that because I feel like um, women really need to hear this. Like you said, you and I came from broken families and everything, and we have such similar backgrounds. And not only that, but when you were born into, and I know we've touched on this before, but whenever you are born like from somebody that is a black sheep or has some kind
Yeah.
of reputation, you automatically have that mark on you. So
Mm-hmm.
not only is your family broken, but now you also have this other thing that people will try to put on you or put in your way of progressing. So it's like I had this black mark on me because of my parents. Then both of my parents have died. I only have a couple of members of my family that I've kept, that are close. It's like so many things, sexual abuse, legal. I had a lot of legal problems, like legal trouble that I was in. I mean, just mistake after mistake and trying to figure it out and find my way. And then a divorce, I felt like such a failure,
Oh, I
you
remember
know?
that too. My
And
divorce was so traumatizing because I felt like the biggest failure ever.
I
Like
did.
it was
Yeah.
horrible,
Yes.
horrible.
I felt like I was like ripping my family apart, but I knew my marriage was no good.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to go to college. I was actually going to night school too. I enrolled at the local college because I tried to go back to college. I ended up like I ended up dropping out of college a second time because I had to work. Like
Yeah.
I had to make money to support my children. And then I got into another terrible relationship, and it was just this. I finally got to a point where I was just like, I've got to do something about this. I cannot keep going through bullshit. Because if I'm going to go through some bullshit, it's because I'm going to be building a better life for my kids. It's
Yes.
not going to be because of all this other of these mistakes and these choices I've made, because I'm conditioned to think that I'm no good than what I've been dealt, because that's bullshit.
That is. That is.
So I feel like that's another big thing to break that conditioning is you are more than what people lead you to believe that you are. You are more than whatever environment you were born into or raised in, or even if, and I just feel like I have to say this right now, even women that are in marriages right now that are shit and they know it's shit and they know it ain't going to get any better. Don't be afraid of divorce. Don't be afraid of separation. Don't be afraid of any of that because,
Right.
no one's going to give you an award for staying with a shitty spouse.
No,
You don't get shit
not
for
at
that.
all. You
And
don't.
and for some reason people put this thing on, like this big prize on time. Like they think, oh, we've been together so many years. Well, it doesn't really matter if the years are wasted and you're miserable.
Right.
History
Right.
doesn't mean a fucking thing.
Nope. No, it doesn't actually.
No,
Not at
and,
all. It's all
and
about the now and it's all about the future. And that's the
yes,
truth. And that's the truth. So what you're doing now is what matters the most. And what you're planning for the future is next. And,
exactly.
and what you see from within.
And you are allowed to create your own rules. You're allowed to.
Yeah.
That is one thing that really makes the ultimate boss lady, in my opinion, is making your own rules by being authentic,
Yes.
walking in your own power and your own purpose. And you just don't care what other people are doing or what they think.
And I will be honest with the majority of people out there, being at the top is very lonely. Um, so being your own boss is actually, it can be lonely. You have to have a good support group. And I mean, I keep it within like 5 people within my group. I'll be honest. I like don't have a big like group around me. And you have to be genuine and you have to be like looking from within. And that's the truth right there. It can be lonely because, and I won't want to say lonely because it's actually very fulfilling. But if you're not used to getting to that point, that in between point gets lonely because you're not used to that. Like you're used to being like, listening to what people say. And when you stop
Mm-hmm.
listening to what people say, it does get a little lonely. Like that transitioning point gets a little lonely. So if you're ever going through this and you get to a point where you're feeling lonely, don't go backwards because that's what
No,
happens to a lot of people. They go backwards because they're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing something wrong. No, keep on going forward because it will get better because you're learning to recondition yourself and you're
exactly.
learning to get to that right point. And when you stop listening to people and start walking your own path, you'll see good things will start happening quick and faster, and you'll know that you're on the right path.
No, that's so true because I tried that. I tried to have dinner with an old friend a while back, and I was like, "This is terrible." I I mean, I
I
didn't tell her
know.
that, but I thought that. I was like, I'm not going to dinner with her again. Like, it's not happening. Never. And like, and so, every once in a while she'll text me, we need to get together. I'm like, okay, maybe one day. I'm just been really busy because, I don't want to be a jerk, but I mean, I'm just like, I can't do that. Like, there's no,
No.
I'm past that point now, And I just feel like that's very important that you say that. And there's nothing wrong with having a small circle because a lot of people feel like you always have to be doing something and going to
No.
bars or going out. Let me tell you something. Unless you are networking with clients, unless it's like work something that you kind of obligated to socially do, most entrepreneurs and successful people, they really enjoy their peace.
Yes.
They really enjoy their clarity. They don't always have to feel the need to be doing, and going, like socially like that. Okay. Or having a lot of people around them to feel
And
important.
there is a difference between acquaintances and friends. I'll be
Yes.
honest, I have tons of acquaintances. I
Yes.
love all kinds. I mean, I have so many acquaintances, and there are a lot of people in my world that are acquaintances that I really enjoy. Like if I run into them at the supermarket, or if I run into them like at the salon or wherever I'm at, I love those people. I do like networking and I love acquaintances. But when it comes to my circle, I only really do have a small circle. And also, it's important to make sure that those people are like minded, like yourself. So
Yes.
I always say, like, my circle of women are queens. And if you look at every single queen within my circle, they are very like minded, like myself.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Because,
So,
and it's so funny. I even told my lash girl, she was doing my lashes the other day, and she's such a sweet thing, gorgeous, so talented, like so good. And she's just a rocking and rolling little entrepreneur. She's in her
love
early
it.
20s, and I just adore her. She's the cutest thing. And she's just like talking to me about her goals. And I said, you can do this. I was like, you can totally do this. And then she was
Right.
saying, like, she feels like she doesn't really have friends that are like, can relate to her and stuff. I said, you need to get new friends, honey.
Yeah.
I
Time
said,
to change.
yeah, I was like, you really got to get some friends that are like trying to level up. Okay. That's because people that are not, then they're not going to understand you. And you need people that are going
No.
to like vibe with you and understand you so you can elevate each other. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what it is. And you build these solid relationships and you feel good and you don't feel the need to try to be, so popular and social and do all this shit with everybody all the time. Because not everybody's your friend. Not everybody wants to wish you well. They just want to know what you're doing and judge you. So,
Right.
so real boss women, they really enjoy their peace and they enjoy their small circle and they have more clarity, more confidence,
Yes.
and they're more authentic and they don't try to just put on a show and do all this other shit. Like that's the real deal. So I feel like there's a lot of fake things on social media that are like boss babe and oh my god, I'm such a boss because like I'm such a boss, and it's like, but okay, but what makes you that? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? To me, it's just, it's so much more than just some hashtag with a really pretty picture and a nice filter.
Oh, it's way more than that. Way more. Absolutely, Ash. And
Yes.
everything you touched on is exactly how to get to that point.
And the thing is also you have to believe that this is meant for you. Like you have to
Yeah.
believe that. And like opportunities and doors open like crazy. I
Yes.
mean, when you find your path or your passion or something, or you're like, I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to invest, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, or I really want to work my way up in this industry, if you have a corporate career, whatever the case may be, when you think like that and you focus on that, doors open.
They do. And you don't have to be an entrepreneur to be a boss. Like, I'll be honest, when I was like going through chemo and going through all this stuff I was going through, I saw so many bosses taking care of me, like to drawing my blood, to the nurses taking care of me. I mean, these women that I was surrounded by were all boss ladies, and they were very much inspiring, and their job was very rough, but they made it the best. They made it, they glowed when they walked in, they glowed when they took care of me. So I just want to really put it out there that whatever job that you do, whatever you choose, what your path is, whatever makes you genuine, that makes you a boss.
Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Even if you're staying at home with your kids and be like, I'll run this shit, you know, like
Yeah. You're the queen of your castle. That is your castle, girl, and you're a queen of it. So you
hell
run it the way
yeah.
you want to. Yeah.
Even the people in school. I mean, even the people in
Yeah.
school, I run this shit, you know? Hustle, make those grades. I mean, I feel like
Right.
it's if
Those
apply
students.
yes. It applies to everybody.
It does apply to everyone. It
It
totally
really
applies to
does.
everyone.
You know,
Absolutely.
when I was working, I just have to say, like, when I was working in this industry, like when I started, I was a receptionist. And
Yeah.
so I was making like $11 an hour, maybe. And I told, you know what I said in the interview? Because this was when I was trying to get back. I had payroll and billing experience, but I had stayed at home with my kids for a year and a half or 2 years. And then when I decided to leave my husband and get a divorce, I couldn't find a job anywhere. So I started waiting tables. And I'd waited tables for a good while. And then finally, I said, fuck it, I'm just going to go for this receptionist position, right? So I'm in the interview and I said, look, I am very overqualified to be a receptionist here. I said, so I'm not going to sit up there at that receptionist desk for very long. I will be moving up. I just told them that in the interview.
I love it.
And I said, so, you know, but I'll take the job. And they didn't even hire me. They didn't even offer it to me. This is what I told them. I said, so I'll give you my shirt size and you tell me when I can start. I'm available whenever. And they hired me on the spot. You know how long
Love it.
do you know how long I sat up at that receptionist desk?
How long?
3 days.
What?
And they moved me to the billing department.
What?
I swear to God. And
That's a fantastic story,
I'm
Ash.
telling you. And now I run a facility, and now I'm really excited. And I'm just gonna share. I'm up for a position for a director's position. So
I know it's coming too, girl.
It is. It's coming. I know it's coming. And so it just blows my mind. I mean, guys, that's 6 years. That's 6 years. A receptionist to a director. Like what? What?
Yeah.
You know, and this is and I mean, it's just anything is possible. The opportunities are there. And let me tell you something else. And also, you know, the houses that you and I are sitting in right now, Mel.
I know.
I mean, that is the house you wanted in the neighborhood you wanted.
I know, it's totally my neighborhood.
Yes, and I'm sitting in my dream house, and it's like and it all happened so fast. Yeah. I mean, these things happen so fast. I got certified as an injector so fast. I'm applying because I'm also going to be doing the nursing program in the evenings. I mean, there's just so many things that are happening, and the opportunities are there. I mean,
and they're endless. They truly are.
Yes.
They're endless. They really are.
Oh, it's just so many good things, guys. Like so many good things. I'm sure if somebody would have sat me in Meltdown, 15 years ago and said, this is where you're going to be in this time, I would have laughed. I'd have been like, I don't know who you think you're talking to. That's not me.
Yeah. And I would have been like, I wish, like, in tears, like putting myself down. I'm not like that.
Yes. I mean, anything, I mean, and people can sometimes people judge me for this, but I really don't care. But I'm always like, anything's possible. They're like, what the hell? You know, what kind of Disney movie shit? And I'm just like, but it is.
It is. And I'm all about the rainbow. I always say rainbows and unicorns because that's how I view my manifestation. I'm like, it's all about the rainbows and unicorns. Let's do it. I'm going to hop on that unicorn across my rainbow.
Hell yes.
I'm making
Hell
it
yes.
happen. The magic is coming. Bring
Oh
on
my
the
God.
magic.
I love it so much. It's so funny. It's so true, though. It's so true. And so, I don't know. I just encourage our listeners, like anybody out there listening to this.
Yes.
I mean, even if you have to hit replay and listen to this episode, get it into your mind that
Yes.
you are good enough. You can do anything that you set out to be. And that is that boss lady mentality.
Woo. Absolutely.
I love it. Man, I could go on all day on this soapbox. I really could.
Me too. I'm all about empowering women.
Hell
Women
yes.
empowering women all the way. And I would love to see every woman out there be a boss lady.
I know. I love it so much. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in today. As always, we love having you. Give us some feedback. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Let us know what you think. Our contact info and our social media info will be in the show notes. Connect with us. And as always, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye, you guys.